There are two things we must remember today. First, that God has placed into us, as we see in the Old Testament, the law of God. What is good, what is bad, we can immediately distinguish it. No one has to tell us this is right, that is wrong. No, we know it. All of us know it. So that is one thing. The second thing is, we see how Jesus has told us that if you love, then love is one thing, sharing, and the other thing is love entails suffering. If you love anything, in order for you to get that, you have to go through a certain amount of suffering, which means you've got to say no to things, you've got to discipline yourself, you've got to be at it. There is some kind of suffering. But that suffering is done with great joy. We see how in the life of John Mary Vianney, he was an ordinary boy, a farm hand, was looking after sheep of his dad and the farm. And during that time, there was a lot of negative on religion in France. So they had to be very hidden. They could not profess their faith aloud. He was given communion at the age of 13 or so, like Maria Goretti. And then he was there, took the communion, but when the others were doing the farm work, quietly he did his communion. Now he wanted to be a priest. And so his parish priest saw that he was a good man, good young boy, and took him to the seminary. First he trained him a little, put him in the seminary, but he could not manage because he had not studied. He had no background in studying. So he was not able to cope up with studies. But he was a very staunch man, deep in faith, deep in prayer, always able to do all the work. So with these qualities and the parish priest tutoring him, giving him the training, he was ordained priest. He was sent to one small little parish for some time, and then he was given this parish of ours, and it was a place where the people were not at all living the faith. They were into dancing and merriment and sin. So he told him, you go and see that there is no love in these people, you see that it is kindled. He went, and do you know what he did? He spent many hours before the Blessed Sacrament praying for the people. And whom did he visit? All these people who were sick, who really needed spiritual advice. And he went to them because they were down, they were rejected, neglected. And these people started reviving because his prayers were very powerful. When he said a prayer, they became all right. They gave up their old ways because he had special gifts. He could see into the heart of men. He could see those sins which they have not confessed. He could, see the future of the persons. And this they experienced from him. One by one, within no time, the whole parish was changed. And not only the whole parish, but people started coming from the neighboring villages, and soon from all over France, and soon from all over Europe and even America. And he spent many, many hours in the confessional, sometimes even up to 18 hours. And those days there was no amenities, no fans, nothing. He had to be there in that confessional box all these hours, sometimes very hot, other times very cold. But in spite of all that, he would do penances for his people. He would flog himself, almost bleeding sometimes. He would not eat much food, but make penances for his people. And that is how all the big people came to him. Government people, cardinals, bishops, priests, nuns, everyone came to confession with him because they really experienced a healing. He spent 40 years in this way. My dear sisters and brothers, this man has said one thing which is really very, very important, that if we do not offer all that we do to God, it is wasted. And there's a nice prayer that he has said, and I would like us to be with this prayer with our eyes closed. Let us hold our hands like this, close our eyes, keep our back straight, be present to Jesus at every breath. At every breath, Jesus comes to us in our body, mind and spirit, fills us with His goodness, and He takes away all that is bad in us. So when we breathe out, surrender to Jesus all your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, your desires, which are good, bad and ugly. And Jesus will bless them, purify it with His precious blood, and give you good things back multiplied. I love you, O my God, and my only desire is to love you until the last breath of my life. I love you, my infinitely lovable God, and I would rather die loving you than to live without loving you. I love you, Lord, and the only grace I ask is to love you eternally. My God, if my tongue cannot say in every moment that I love you, I want my heart to repeat it to you as often as I draw breath. At every breath, Jesus is with us. He is the life in our body, mind, and our spirit is united to His Spirit. Let us be aware of this great blessing God has given us, as St. John Mary Vianney understood, lived, and died serving others, not himself. May this self-sacrificing love, self-effacing love, self-giving love continue to move us and motivate us in all our interaction with others.